Hi everyone. Listen, if you'd like to watch me make some really fun papers on newsprint using a new set of stamps and stencils that I received from internet friend Yolande Alexander of Devon Rex for Art, then that's what I'm going to do. And they came out really pretty. I've got a lot of different colors. It was really fun. I had a good time. So that's what we're going to do. And if you'd like to watch me do that, I still have paint on my hands. Let's come on over here and we'll do it together, okay? See ya. Bye. So I did this yesterday. I played around with one of the two stencils that Yolande sent me, which was this one, and I made a whole bunch of papers using a combination of her stencils and some of my handmade stamps. And yeah, the technology god said, no, not today. So I'm going to start over again because I had some video and some audio, but not enough of both to do this. So what I have here, so I have a internet friend named Yolande Alexander who is an artist, and she has a great channel and does lots of live videos, which is fun. But she also designs stencils and stamps for PM Artist Studio. So the one that I worked with yesterday, well, it's all black, so you can barely see it. But so I have this called Venetian. Where do I look? Venetian Abstract. And then I also have one that's called Wonky Ohhs. So today what I'm going to do is play around. I've got my 8x10 jelly plate buried under here. I've got a bunch of different colors of Liquitex acrylic paint that I have watered down so that it's a little easier to work with on the gel plate. I don't use them very often, but I'd like to use them today. And I also have a couple of stamps. This one's very cool. It looks like maybe binary code. And this is very cool because this looks interlocking-ish, and that looks kind of maybe Aztec-y. And then a little freebie from PM Artist Studio. So I'm going to work with newsprint because it's kind of my favorite these days. And I have torn up a large ton of it. And today I'm going to make some papers because I've got another collage in my mind. And I don't know if it's dangerous or exciting to have an idea for which I want to make papers. I actually think it might be dangerous. But the plan is to make some papers using these stencils and stamps. And if I feel like I've run out of ideas, maybe to interject some of my own stuff in here. That's the plan. And if you'd like to do that, hang out. It is 90 degrees outside. And I have a little window air conditioning in my living room right off this room. But it's not really getting in here. So I'm partially dressed, TMI, partially dressed, and I'm going to just get started. I'm just going to grab the first color paint that I have here, which is a combination of Payne's Gray and Ochre, which gives me a very lovely greenish gray color, which I am quite fond of. Now I'm hoping that the reason I was inspired to use these colors is it does have some medium in it, which might make it, oh, what a color, might make it easier for me to pull prints without the paint drying immediately on the plate. It's funny, I've been working on an 8x10 for a very long time, but recently I've been working on I've been working on a 12x14, which makes this seem diminutive. So one of the things I'm going to try to do is get a couple of background layers over which I can play with these stencils. I have only really ever used stencils a certain way. And the way that I have watched other artists use their stencils is different than what I usually do. You know, I've watched people put the stencil down on the paper and then paint over it, which is a very new technique for me. But now that I've said that out loud, let's just do it. don't know how much paint is enough or how much is too much. I'll tell you the gel medium that I have, or the whatever the medium is to extend your paint, is makes this very squishy. So this is the part I get confused on. I must have to remove that. Okay, I have to remove that. Let me just rub that on here so it's dryish. Oh, how pretty. The next time I need it, where does this go? And should I pull this on a back? All right, you can tell I don't really know what I'm doing. But those of you who have watched my channel recently, you know that I mostly don't know what I'm doing. Everything is a big giant experiment. So perhaps, yeah, I'm just going to wing it here, guys. Maybe I get a background on so I don't have all that plain. Ooh, I forget what color is that. Light olive green. Sure. Ooh, it's like a puce. Well, that's pretty cool. So you guys are going to watch me limp through this process, because usually when I'm doing things, I'm grabbing what I feel like, but I'm working with a particular colorway. I mean, a particular set of stencils. So I don't get to follow my will-o'-the-wisp. I get to find out what they do. And you know what I want? Oh, I love that. I watched a video recently of, it might have been Yolande's, where she was doing what she called a long haul. And a long haul, which I had never heard of before, looks like just working with the same stencils and never cleaning your plate and seeing what you get for the luck of the draw. I remember having to stop in the middle of it because I had an appointment and I have yet to get back to it. So yeah, I don't know what to do. Come here, you. That's going to be light going over this, and probably not dark enough going over that. This is the way I'm accustomed to working with stencils. I've got fans and air conditioners running. I hope that my software editing will... No, that doesn't work, honey. You need some contrast. Okay. Do I... All right, let me just pull this off since that didn't really show. Let me pull this off. And let's try... Let's try this. Let's put this here. Do a little bit of this greenish gray. Ooh, that's not a little bit, honey. That's a lot of it. Yeah, I found a bunch of, I was in my storage shed the other day. Oh, that's cool. In my storage shed the other day and found a whole bunch of polymer stamps I used to use on my pottery that I don't even remember putting out there. And I brought them in. That's cool. I brought them in thinking I would go through them, and what I ended up doing was just playing with them. And then I found Yolande's stencils and started playing with those. And when I started to edit it, I love that color combination. When I started to edit it, it was a fail because some clips had audio, others didn't. Some clips didn't get recorded at all, and there's no one to blame on that other than the, I love this, other than the recorder. Okay, so now let's see what this color, light blue permanent, let's see what this does. I ended up with some cool papers, which are the color that I imagine my next collage to be. What do I do? That looks opaque. I don't think I'm going to be able to put that over one of the prints I just pulled. Pretty opaque. What about if, can I have that on top of this? Where is I have a favorite tool. I never remember to bring it out. It's my Princeton Catalyst Wedge, which I tried to describe the other day on my last video as a baron. I completely was unable to access that word in my memory banks. Completely unable to. I just finally gave up. I love those colors together. Those are quite pretty. Okay. Now, get these out of my way. This, that will be happy with a little bit of black on top of it. So let's, what do I do? Let's think outside the box, sure E. Try something different. Let's try this. Okay, so now I take you, put you there. You get two for the price of one when you use that flop-off idea. Now, okay, so I've got this routine that I'm doing here that's, you know, I'm making interesting stuff, but I have to think outside of the box. What might I try? How might I use these differently? Let me try this. Let's just get some black paint on here. Roll it out. I'm going to try that next. Here, let's just do that. Now, what if I try, probably not the most inspired combination. Oh, look at what that did. That took everything right off. Is it because I pushed down? It's because I pushed down on it. Wow, this is a really good, look at the background this gives you guys. Look at this. Look at the pattern you get from this stamp. This is a good stamp. This is a very, when you cut these papers up, you're going to get some really awesome patterns. I'm just having too much fun to stop, so even though I might be wrecking my background, I can roll it out. You know, back in my earlier days before I lost my business, we painted pottery. And one of the things that we discovered is that pressing down with your hand as opposed to your fingertips gives you a much better impression. So let me see what I get here. Oh, look at that. Oh, this is awesome. I'm going to try this yellow ochre, which I believe is just yellow ochre. Have I used it yet? Nay. Now this looks transparent as well, which tells me maybe, can I? Lessons from Kerry the Crafter. Instead of using the whole sheet, use a partial. I'm going to pick the rest of it up on this shredded sheet. You know, I usually end up cutting off this white. If I bother to continue to paint it, I won't have to cut it off because it'll be painted. Well, that actually makes me happy. Here, let me just repair this piece of paper here. Okay. I want more. I want more of that. Do I? Hold on. Okay. Didn't record that last segment because I was so excited to get these stamps out of the water. So I don't know what the protocol is. What I'm doing is I'm getting them wet and then I don't know how clean I have to get these. I think I'm just going to treat them like they were my polymer stamps and try to get as much paint off of them as possible. Look at this sheet. Look at what this pattern does. This is freaking awesome. This is awesome too. All right, now. I want more yellow. Yeah, it definitely is. I definitely made this paint definitely more transparent with those mediums that I added to it. It's very dirty looking, but I personally like my colors dirty. Okay. Maybe I can grab what's left of that on here. Let me just pull some of that pattern through here. Let's see what I get. Spottier than I want. Sure. I know it's gonna, no, it's gonna do like double vision. Let me just do this. Let me pull this. Look at these patterns that this stencil, look at this stencil. This is very cool. Let's put a little bit. Why are you acting cloggy? It's probably a ball bearing, a microscopic ball bearing stuck in there. If I make it really thin. Okay, so pretty. Okay, I've got a real mosh of colorways over here, but I'm having fun, so I'm going to keep going. I want to do that again. I want to have more. Oh my God, is another neighbor coming over my house? I swear. I'm trapped like a rat over here, guys. I'm the president of a little mobile home co-op in New Hampshire, and I raised my hand to be the president because nobody else would. Oh, so pretty. And now I am imprisoned. I'm imprisoned by elderly people who think it's our job to unclog their bathtub. It's not. That's very unkind. Cherie, that's not true. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. It's just people don't realize what we do, and because they don't realize what we do, they ask us to do things that we don't do. And I don't blame them. Everybody here is. I'm like a young chick. I'm 70 and I'm like a young chick. There's a handful of us that are not 80. Everybody else is much older. Look at these pretty colors. What am I going to do with these? I've got this collage in my mind that's going to need some greenery, and I'm going to need something for a sky. What can I do? What if I... All right, let me try something different. What if I put a... If I put a background down... Too much, Cherie. I'm going to put a background down. Oop. That's what happens when you have too much paint. Your paper just slides right across it. All right, so I got this background down. What if I... I'm gluing this down. I'm just using it as a, I'm using it to hold something. I need a yogurt cover. This is going to be my paint palette. I'm going to, that's green, this is gray. I'm going to use my, I have a tendency to, I don't know why I do that. Nobody told me to do that, but that's what I do when I'm using this little guy, which is a blending brush that does this. Watch. That does thing. Look at how pretty that is. Here, where's your friend? What if I... That didn't change the color hardly at all. Let me go back to this because this one seems to have some really interesting. Oh, that's cool. All right. Thank you for sending these to me, Yolande. I'm sorry it took me so long to get to them. I used to be a multitasker. Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore. I hit a wall every once in a while. This is going to be too dark for that, so let's put a little bit of, this is parchment. I want this on the edge. Oh, I like that. Maybe I'll do that. Look at what it does, guys. Blending brush. Look at what I'm making here. Yeah, these are good stencils. These are, you know, when you look at them in their whole, they're pretty because they're patterns. But when you break them up into parts, they are way prettier because they are just hints of something. And you don't even have to be particular about what you're putting. Look at this. Look at this, guys. Freaking love that. All right. So I must have I do. Looky what I have. So I'm going to go a little lighter on this. Lighter's, well, it does have a, all right, let's see. Let's see if it even shows up. It does. Look at what I'm getting. Okay, so this is, I'll tell you why this is exciting for me, because I have a tendency to not use other people's stencils if they're recognizable, because, you know, I want to have my own look. But when you do, this doesn't look like this. This looks like this. Okay, that is cool. Okay, what have I got that I can do that to over here? Let's see what happens with this guy. Go back to Venetian Magenta. Okay, this is a big success, Yolande. Look at what you've created for us. And then all it takes is for somebody to just play a little outside of the box. Freaking love this. So pretty. All right, what else do I have I can do that to? This is dark. Let's put something over that. I like that gray on top of that ochre. Okay, let me try a different part of this shape. Yeah. Okay, this is very cool. Okay, I believe I'm going to break my moratorium on using other people's stuff, because if I can get that kind of interest and still look like me and not Yolande, nothing personal, Yolande, you understand what I'm talking about. We all want our own look. What am I going to do with these papers? These are great. Okay, I need, let's see what we're going to do with this. I'm going to stick with this thing for a while because I'm just having too much fun. Let me go circle-y. Maybe just, that's a lot of black. You think it's a little bit, but look what just happened. It's not a little bit, it's a lot. She's making these stencils for PM Artist Studios, and they're making them available to us. And these are fun. Yeah, these are great. Look at that. Okay, let's see. So this has kind of disappeared. So I'm going to keep going with some of this little bit. Let me do parchment and black, which is going to give me gray. No, I want black. Is it going to be dark enough? I need contrast. Not dark enough. More black. Oh, that's good. That's very nice. Just a little bit of it in there. Yeah, these are really fun. Okay. What am I going to do with these? These are awesome. Okay. This is not interesting. Let's see if we can make it interesting. Yes, we can. And even though it's it's the same pattern over and over again, but there's so many parts of this. Look, look, look. There's so many parts of this that are not the same that you can get like a whole bunch of different sections just by moving it around. Oh yeah, these are great. Here, let's mix it up a little bit. Let me see which part of this will be fun there. What if I do, I don't think I'm going to be able to get something light to show over this because I have so much dark on my brush, but let's find out. Oh, the first swipe you can. As long as it's not too mixed up. Okay, I still want light, so don't mix it in so much. Sure, E. Try that. No, light. Yeah, mixing it right back into gray, but I am getting enough light on this to see some contrast. That is vastly improved. This could benefit from some light in the middle. Maybe what I'll do, hold on a second, guys. Hold on, I'll be right back. I went and washed this thing because I really want light. I'm starting kind of fresh. What is this? This is parchment. I would like whiter. Ooh, okay, that's going to be enough paint for the next couple of hours. Okay, this is done with Venetian. Let me try putting circles over this. Okay, guys, if you guys don't own one of these, may I highly recommend you start saving your quarters to get one, because I have been working with using craft sponges to do this kind of work for years, and you don't get anything nearly as... That didn't do anything. You don't get anything nearly as cool. Let me see if I can quiet this down just a little bit with some white. Okay, I like what that does. It dulls the black. White on top of stuff is actually kind of a favorite of mine, because you can still see the underneath. This part's got a lot of nice shapes in it. Very fun. You know, and it's interesting, when the paint goes on thick enough, it almost leaves like a little bit of a ridge. Look at this. This is yummy. This is pretty homogeneous looking. Let's see if we can shake it up. That's very round. This is very angular. Okay, that's fun. Look at that area. Can you see that? Am I going right off camera? So let's quiet that little area right there. Let's dull down some of that. Yeah. Much better. Not so much the same areas if I tear it up or if I cut them out, because you know how much I've been enjoying cutting things out lately. That's got circles on it. What are they called? Wonky Ohhs. Let's get some of this white on top of this dark gray. Will that show up? Not really. The white doesn't really show up on the newsprint. Oh! What just happened? Is this the same thing as putting the paint through it? Is it the same thing? Or am I going to pull up? Guys, what's going to happen here? Is this going to dry and I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to have like a layer? I like that way better than the brayer thing. All right, let's let the fan sit on that for a minute, because they're blowing all over the place. Let me do a little bit of this. Let's do so much more interesting than just, yes. Not light enough. Oh, look how bright that looks. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, that's kind of ready for me to pull it. Let me pull it with this Payne's Gray and Ochre. Oh, sure, that's a lot of paint. Since that's dry on there, I'm just going to let this sit for a couple of minutes while I continue to play. See if we can pull that white up as well, and then maybe I'll add some brushing to it. This might be interesting with some Venetia on top of it. Okay, I don't want to keep using the same piece, the same section. I don't think I've used this that much. Let's take a look at this. It's pulling. Okay, so there's not really a huge difference between what happens when you pull, when you put the brush through and when you do the stencil. Maybe the stencil reads a little more thickly. Want some high contrast here. Oh, that is freaking awesome. Look at that. Yeah, guys, look at what happens. Just keep moving this stencil around, and you end up with all kinds of different shapes. I think I am all done throwing my white edges away. That's not happening anymore. I've learned something new here today, which is, let's see, let's do this. Oh yeah, I prefer it. I think I'm mixing with my white now. I'm getting it kind of gray. Look at this, guys. Look how pretty that is with the black and white on the edge and that green with the gray over it. So lovely. So this has got O's. I'm going to Venetian it. I'm going to keep working with black because black and white, you guys know this, black and white is friends with everybody. Everybody loves black and white. In terms of art, that's a good section. Look at that section. Where does that live? I want to find that again. Let's just block out that whole corner and see what happens. Something very exciting. Okay, I'm going to have, this is great because I'm actually going to have some black and white, which I've used most of mine. And since I always have such a hard time with contrast, black and white is a problem solver for me. This is a very homely thing, and I don't think there's anything I can do that will make this uglier, so let's make it prettier. Yes. Oh, look at how that blue reads underneath that. I keep forgetting. I'm still learning about the difference between stencils and masks. Stencils reveal and masks. How's that go? Stencils reveal and masks conceal. Yeah, these, look at this. Look at this area in here. That gray green, that blue green. Okay. I've got, now this is homely. Let's make it not homely. Okay, I think I might be winding down, guys. I'm going to finish up these edges, and then we're going to take a look at what we've done. Let's not overdo it with the same pattern. Oh, nice area there. Okay. This is just one thing. Let's make it a few things. I would like to superimpose. I've got the pattern going this way here. Let's make it go that way. I've got some definite favorite areas of this stencil. Definitely like those little things right there. Look at those. Let's see. Let's try these. And then let's get some stripes going in here. Fun. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call it, guys. I'm gonna call it done-ish. And I'll start. These are spread out all over the table, so they're gonna come over here one at a time. Let's put the ones that are not quite finished. That needs a lot. This one appeals to me. I like the light, the green on that. Okay. You're going to notice that I have a favorite, which is this Venetian thing, because I've used it extensively. And you know, I don't use my papers whole. They're always chopped up. But all I'm thinking about right now is someone referred to the little shapes that I've been cutting out of my last several collages as arches, which is a good way of doing it. I cut a rectangle of fabric, and I cut out a little arch, and then I cut one out of that, and I keep reversing them, and I get what I call absolute loveliness. It reveals I can't wait to see what happens when something reveals these things that are underneath. All right, so I've got about 8 or 10 more. That has really, I neglected the stamps. I neglected the stamps. Well, I used them for a while. I just didn't use them as much as I did the stencils, probably because I understand the stencils a little bit better. All right, let's see. That. These dirty colors are totally for me. I love these dirty browns and grays and yellow ochre. That is an absolute favorite of mine. I like that too. That needs some love. And then there's that one. Okay, this is what we did. This is what we did. We used, let me get these things. They're buried. We used Venetian Abstract stencil, 9x12, by Devon Rex Art, which is Yolande Alexander. We used that. And then we used this, which is called Wonky Ohhs, again by Yolande, Devon Rex for Art, PM Artist Studios. Guys, have fun with these. Get these stencils and stamps. And oh, I didn't use this little star thing. That's okay. Anyways, that was fun. I enjoyed myself. I made some really cool stuff. Thank you, Yolande, for sending these things to me. I cannot wait to see. What am I going to do with these pretty papers? Thank you. My name is Cherie Burlington. I'm an artist, an Erin, an angel mom, and this was wicked fun. And I just recorded a video 3 days ago, so it's not going to be a month before you hear from me. Come back, leave comments, do the like and subscribe thing, which I never ask, but do it if you want to. See ya. Bye.